Hi, Jess. Welcome to the Genetic Genius podcast. I am thrilled to have you as a guest today. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
And before we get started talking about health and cellular optimization and BodyBio, all the great things we're going to talk about today, I'd love for you to just tell a little bit about your story so that our listeners can get to know you a little bit before we dive deep into the supplement realm.
Gladly. So I've been with BodyBio for 4 years. Previous to that, in another lifetime, I was an art dealer living in London. And what's fascinating about growing up, my grandparents started BodyBio. And what's fascinating about growing up in a supplement life is that so often you're led so astray by medical professionals or by the allopathic community. And really what brought me into the BodyBio world in my kind of late teens, early 20s, going through massive gut issues, gut dysbiosis, IBS diagnosis. No one was really able to help me feel better until I started sitting down more closely with my grandfather and really talking to him how these products work and nutritional recommendations and dietary changes. And it wasn't until that all came together that it all made sense for me. We were the type of family that always ate organic, and we were very healthy growing up. There was barely any sugar in my household, but yet you still have these genetic issues that affect your health. And I wasn't able to find anybody to really help me until I started diving into the world of supplementation and nutritional deficiency. So that was a really enlightening part of my 20s. In my 30s, we're speaking now, and I'm on my 6th month of my 3rd baby. I am 37 years old. When I was 32 years old, I was told you have polycystic ovaries, you are pre-diabetic, you're not going to be able to have children naturally, and you will most likely, here's some metformin, here's some Clomid, and this is what's going to help you get pregnant. Once again, I turned around, I said, that's not right. And call my grandfather, got to get to the root of what's going on here. So it's always that exploration into like, how can we take our health into our own hands and not just accept that diagnosis? That was the reason my grandfather started the company almost 40 years ago at this point.
Wow, that's a powerful story, Jess. It's really amazing when we get to experience that own healing within ourselves, because that totally ignites this passion for helping others, which I can hear that from your story. Because when we like, I love what you said too about, I got this diagnosis and I want to take charge of my own health. And that is so key. And what I really like about your products at BodyBio, and when we're learning about all those too, but when we have that ability to see that change within ourselves, it creates, what's the term, like dissolves mountains, or there's some term like that, where we can just do anything we want to because it empowers us with so much knowledge. And then we can help others, which is, I think, part of your passion too.
Definitely. I like to call it curiosity powered solutions. It's this insatiable unwillingness to just accept what is given to you at face value. And I think with social media in the world today, there's so many more people who are exploring this. And it's such an awesome thing to be.
Yeah. It's like the revolution of the mind, right? Where people actually, oh yeah, I could actually think for myself about my health and not have somebody tell me exactly what to do. And I'm going to do it and not think for myself, which I think is, we've had this long period of time where people are like, this is what you do. This is it. This is what it's going to be. And we're like, wait a minute. I'm not like every other person. I'm a total individual when it comes to health.
And is that going to make me feel good? Is there a reason I'm still not feeling like, why am I taking these drugs or doing this specific treatment protocol and I'm still not feeling well? So it's really about helping people feel better for longer. We're living longer than we ever have. And isn't that great? Such a big part of what BodyBio does. How do we help people to live better?
Yeah. It's like healthy aging. I want there's got to be a new term. I don't even like the term like aging really.
And like longevity is so boring.
I know. It's like, we have to have something totally new and powerful.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So great. So let's talk a little bit about the mission. I think you mentioned it a little bit, but the mission about BodyBio, and I know that it focuses like cell membrane medicine. And I'd love for you to talk about that. And like, how did that come about? You talked about your grandfather, what's his name? Your grandfather's name?
Ed Kane. So he started BodyBio. One of the first products that he was really exploring was electrolytes. And this is in the 1980s. And he was a marathon runner and was getting cramps. And so he started just experimenting in his own bathtub with electrolyte solutions that would mimic like a ringer solution, an IV electrolyte solution. Found one that worked and started manufacturing it. But it was truly his diagnosis with chronic fatigue and that refusal to accept that and trying to really figure out what was causing that put him on this mission of learning about essential fatty acids, bioactive lipids, phospholipids, and what makes up the cell membrane. Because I love this concept that he had of there is no greater root than a cell. And it's so true. We're all looking for this root cause. And so often we're looking at so many different factors in the body, but ignoring. And so one of the main components of his exploration and his research was really looking at the way the membrane changes from birth until you die through aging, but also also through environmental toxins and through the effects of all the different impacts on our health, and really how the cell membrane often creates that Robert Naviaux's cell danger response and how disrupted it. And started working on that and researched it all over the world, and spent time with just amazing researchers, and started working on a line of products that would really address cell membrane medicine.
I love it. I love how you talked about the cell being the root, because it is, right? We forget that our cells are really tiny, but they have so much power within them and so many functions. Like if we just address that, like everything quote unquote fixes, right? Which itself, where our body is able to ignite that innate healing when we're like, oh yeah, here you go. Here's some electrolytes to make the functions of the cell work better inside and out. It's just such a basic, like, part of our cell function. We
Absolutely.
it can make people feel a million times better. Easy little bit.
And so often I think we think we're treating conditions, and there's some really incredible doctors that we work with all over the world who really understand this point. But I think one thing that's often overlooked is taking care of that cell and the cell membrane. So we think about binders, and we think about parasite cleanses, and we think about all these different things to get rid of the heavy metals or whatever it is that you're dealing with. But we also have to think about that element of nourishing the cell membrane and nourishing our bodies and our cells. And in nourishing a cell, you're nourishing an organ, you're nourishing the rest of your body. And so if you don't have that added component and you're not actually taking care of you're not going to feel better, and you're not going to feel better for a while. You're just depleting your body of things.
Yeah. And you'll feel worse. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, I got to do this detox. It's going to make everything better. I'm like, oh wait, hold on. We got to have the foundation first. It's like dumping, I don't know, acid into a system that can't use it or process it. It just makes everything worse.
Totally.
Okay. So it sounds like that your grandfather is brilliant, and that he created this he didn't create the concept, but he used the concept of treating the cell membrane or working with the cell membrane, helping that actual cell membrane to be alive, to function. Yep. What makes the BodyBio supplements like unique? Is there like a specific way they're formulated, or it's just from that cell membrane medicine perspective that they're formulated like in the lab?
We'll start with PC. So PC is our complex of phospholipids. It is extracted differently than most other companies do. 30% phosphatidylcholine can be called PC. Now, most PCs on the market are lecithin in packed in oil. It's a byproduct of soy production or sunflower oil production, and they sell it as that. It's been happening for probably about 100 years at this point. And that is a very different product. That, when it's digested, is going to yield choline and triglycerides. And so it's not liposomal.
Right.
What my grandfather did is figured out a way to truly make a liposomal supplement and extract it in a very specific way so that the integrity of the phospholipids, it's phosphatidylcholine, phosphatidylethanolamine, phosphatidylnositol, serine, and then some phosphatidic acid. So those are intact, and because of the extraction process that we do, which is proprietary, it yields a true phospholipid that's going to make it through the digestive system for true liposomal format into the bloodstream for cellular delivery to get to those cells.
Okay.
So key.
Yeah.
And it's one of the questions we get asked most often. Why is yours so much more expensive than others? And that is the reason right there. It is truly a liposomal, and somebody who really needs phospholipids, somebody who is very depleted, somebody who's dealing with chronic illness or autoimmune disease, neurodegenerative diseases, they will feel the effects much more quickly, especially when they've been taking another brand.
And that makes what you said is so key too. You want to be taking something that is going to work, and not like flushing something out of you right down the toilet if you're not absorbing it. And if your cells are trying to absorb something that's not pure, or absorbing something that's adulterated, and then it's like, why did you even take it in the first place?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
That was a foundation of looking at the health of the cell membrane. Another aspect of it is balance oil, which is alpha-linolenic and linoleic in the 4-to-1 ratio, which is what's best for the cell membrane. And obviously there's a lot of controversy about vegetable oils and omega-6s and the increased rates of linoleic acid that we see because of oxidized vegetable oils. This is a non-oxidized, it's a cold pressed, hexane-free, solvent-free. They have to be distinguished. Not all linoleic acid is the same.
Right.
When you eat fried foods, canola oil, not recommended.
Yeah, no, don't do that if you're listening
But
out
you can't
there.
just take a fish oil to hope that it lowers. It doesn't work that way.
No, it's a different pathway.
Exactly. You'd be amazed how many people ask us the question, well, I'm taking a fish oil, so do I need to take balance oil? And there's such different things, and they're different layers of the essential fatty acid pathway. So the mother essential fatty acids, LA and ALA, are what are in balance oil, and it's a very carefully treated product. So we're really careful about making sure the oxidation status is very, even when you
which
open
is really key, because you want to have something that that is going to have the right like pattern for your cells.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absorption.
And that's really, that product is what helps that. I love the analogy. You want your cells to look like a grape, not like a raisin. And balance really helps them to look.
Yeah. And that's what we were talking about before we started, is like that wonderful aging, that like love of growing older in some sense. And that's like the same thing. Like you want to be this great like for eternity. And we can be. There's all this advertising that like, oh yeah, I don't know, would be, I'm not seeing as well because I'm aging. I'm like, who said that was something that needed to happen to you?
Absolutely.
And I think if we're taking something that is actually has the right source, where it comes from, and has the ability to help our cells shift, then of course we're going to have this wonderful process of quote unquote aging healthy.
Absolutely. We get asked that a lot when people say, I'm healthy, I don't have a chronic illness, I don't have an autoimmune disease. Should I be taking PC? And of course, because at the end of the day, we all die of disease one way or another. And
right. It's just part of aging.
It's part of aging. And let's put that off. Disease occurs in the cellular level. So let's put that off as long as possible.
And PC is so great for the brain.
Yeah.
Which is so key. We use our brain like nonstop. And as we've seen, a lot of people are having some different issues with their brain function due to early signs of dementia or Alzheimer's. And taking something for the brain to ignite the brain's ability to function, having more memory is so key.
Yeah. Brain fog isn't just for, or that brain degeneration isn't just for an older demographic, guys.
No.
People who are experiencing brain function issues after having COVID, it's baby brain after having babies.
That's right.
It's so many different elements, and just the exhaustion in general of people in the workforce these days, getting that kind of brain fog that happens. You feel such a difference when you take PC. I like to say it's you're firing on all cylinders. You just feel like you're much more with it.
Right. In tune with what's going on around you, which is so important. Yeah. Okay. Can we shift and talk about, let's talk about the Butyrate. I think you mentioned that was the other, like one of your other key products. Let's talk about that one. Let's talk about what it is. And was this one of the like other main ones that came into play after PC was on the supplement line?
Yeah, definitely. So along with studying the cell membrane and essential fatty acids came investigations into butyrate and its role in breaking down the toxins at a nuclear and mitochondrial level. So butyrate's fascinating because it's the growth of butyrate in people who are looking for postbiotics is really interesting right now. And I think it's the reason is because our diets have changed so much. We are straying so far from eating resistant starches. You can eat a ton of fiber and a ton of butter to get butyrate, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend
the butter
that.
Diet is not that popular.
But keto and paleo diets, even the autoimmune protocol type diet, carbohydrate restricted diet, you're going to not produce as much butyrate. So we're seeing just systemic low levels of butyrate production in the gut. Butyrate is produced when the good bacteria in your gut are given the right prebiotic fibers. And those prebiotic fibers are typically the ones you get it most from are resistant starch. So green banana, cooled rice, cooled potatoes. You can get it from, there's some that argue you can get it from polyphenols, but you're talking very minimal amounts. It would take 2 sticks of butter to get what you have in 2 capsules of butyrate. So this one came into the mix as part of the treatment protocol that they were working on with a lot of physicians with people with chronic illness, people with neurodegeneration, and especially works well for mold toxicity and Lyme disease, these types of things. So butyrate on a cellular level breaks down specific toxins, and PC helps wash it out of the body. And those 2 products were used in conjunction when we were mostly a practitioner brand. We've developed the brand over the last about 4 years into a direct to consumer and practitioner brand because there is such interest in postbiotics and butyrate. And now there's so much amazing research being done into its role in immunity and the relationship between the gut-brain axis and how important butyrate is for that. So it's really grown tremendously. It's our fastest growing supplement, but it's incredible to see just all the applications it's used in. It really is unbelievable.
I really like how you tied in that piece with the mold toxicity and with Lyme and chronic disease, because those are the things that people are always searching for. How can I help my body to shift out of this state of chronic illness? And so when we actually use something that helps our body to use something else better that we're eating, absorbing, it helps us to like ignites that fuel within. And then it helps us to actually be able to have a fighting force, to have this, like the soldiers come out, so to speak, in our body, to be able to have the space for healing.
Yeah. And I think so many people restrict their diet so heavily in our food. We can talk about why we're not getting a lot of these supplements from our food anymore, but that's a whole separate conversation.
Ridiculous, right?
Agricultural practices. But I think in general, combine the changes in our food with the onslaught of environmental toxins we have in today's world, combined with with these things like mold toxicity and Lyme, then you're restricting your diet, and all of a sudden your cells are just screaming, and you're so many issues. It's quite horrifying that just how sick people can feel. And it's really
I know it really is. And I think we're seeing a big shift in that people are so tired of that. They're like, I'm just done, because they've tried everything. And that's what we know why people come to see me and other naturopathic physicians is like, they're not given any tools to help themselves feel better. And they're like, this is not how I want to live. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be able to spend time with my children. I want to live my life. And you can't because you have XYZ. And they're like, that's not going to work for me. And especially
that's where we come in too, is I think of the people who find us are like these hunters, these explorers who are seeking out a better solution. And so often those people are doctors like you looking for those solutions for their patients. And then now you also have the layer of patients and people who may not be as sick as those needing of care of a physician, but really wanting to take their health into their own hands to feel great on a daily basis.
Which is so important, because then even just that little bit of empowerment then can change everything, because you have this little like glimpse of hope about how you're going to shift, especially like you said, if someone has Lyme disease, that can be very hard for you to function in daily life sometimes. Okay, so let's talk about children's health. And I know that's probably a big passion for you with your 2 children and 1 on the way. So I wanted to talk to you about what your thoughts are about, one, why we have such a declining health status for children. It's like how we can make active changes in their nutrition, their DNA, because I think they're the key, of course, for our future, but we're making, as an overall society, making these poor choices for our children.
Yeah, true. And I think it also comes down to a lot of it comes down to the burden that mothers and parents feel and the ease at which you can get certain things and the difficulty that it is to get others. I think it's wonderful now that we have so many options for children's first foods and resources and places that you can go to. I know one that I used that I loved was called My Serenity Kids or Cerebelly, and or even Once Upon a Farm, they're using so much more nourishing foods in ease. Yes, they're still in these little pouches or they're in these little containers, but it's such a better version. I don't even know who makes the tiny little glass jars like Gerber or whatever.
Right, who knows where those come from?
I don't know, but they're organic, and there's some that are meat based, and they have pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds, and they're cold pressed, and they're really carefully sourced. So I think it's such a wonderful time. And I think that access to these things is becoming greater and greater, which is wonderful. I think the other thing is we're all understanding the effects that non-organic food can have on our long-term health. And that's something I'm super passionate about, is how do we bring organic foods to everybody so that it's not so expensive and it's not so difficult to access, and supporting local farming and regenerative farming. We're in New Jersey, so it's really awesome to be able to support local farmers and get your little farm stand foods, especially during the summer as well. But it really clicked for me when I thought about the choices that you have as a parent and what you can give your kids. We're not crazy restrictive. If my kids go out to a party, they can have whatever they want. I don't want to restrict their lives and run around telling everybody they're gluten intolerant. They're not. They're fine. But a little sugar won't kill them. But I think that it's just really important to prioritize making sure your kids are healthy and optimizing that health, not only for their immune system, but for their long-term health goals. I think.
Yeah, it's so important, especially when they're in that stage of development and growth, which we're seeing screen time for 2 years of age and 3 years of age is really detrimental to their brain growth. And I love what you said too about the community gardening and food being so important. I work at a farm, and it's just, there's nothing better than a fresh tomato off of the plant, or a pepper, or using the fresh herbs that I use with patients. So it's such a difference when you have that. And it's not that difficult to have a little community garden on your balcony. Share it with your friend or neighbor, or start one. People get, I don't have the space or the time, but it's really not that hard to do. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'd say one of the most gratifying things is seeing I think he was like 18 months old at the time. My son was walking around the backyard. It was very hot. It was the middle of the summer. So he's walking around naked, grabbing cucumbers and just eating them. And it was like such a wonderful thing to see that they're interested in, and that curiosity that just drives them to try new things. But I think that something I definitely want to work on developing is how do we develop some of these things? Some of our supplements are so easy for children to take. It's so easy to get balance oil or some of our liquid minerals in for kids. I'm definitely looking at how we could look at a butyrate for children. Butyrate levels are often very off, out of whack, especially for children in the autistic. PC is an incredible supplement, especially for that community as well. But I give my kids, I call it brain medi, and I make them take it off of a teaspoon. I have to give them a little treat afterwards. They don't love the taste, but just getting kids these really nutritional bioactive lipids and adding that into their foods to make sure that their brain is growing and really nourished.
I really like that piece you tied in with being aware of what our children need and that brain support and having that supplement available for use. So we're taking it from the adult perspective. They see us, we're the model, and they're like, oh, okay, they're taking it. And then I'll give you that treat, whatever that is. And I myself didn't have any sugar growing up until I think I was like 6 or 7. We had honey in the house. It was totally organic, all natural. I'm a 70s baby. So I was like totally organic and healthy. And that rubs off on you as we had a garden growing up. And when you see that, when you're in that environment, our parents are our mom. And so that's probably why we're all the same with those same things now, is because I had so much fun as a kid doing those things.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you show them also, like from a young age, and it sounds so silly, but when you show them quality over time, it'll stick with them as well. There's hundreds of thousands of supplement companies out there nowadays, and God knows how many kids gummy companies out there nowadays. But just showing them that quality of food that you eat and the quality of what you put in your body, I think over time will affect.
Oh yeah, totally. It makes a huge difference. And you mentioned the mineral line, and I love the liquid mineral line. Let's talk a little bit about that. What is that? I know it comes in like different number systems, and there's some things that go along with it. So tell us about what that is about, and why is it so important for the cells, that cell membrane medicine, to have those mineral components?
Yeah, I think that so many people's mineral levels are off. And one of the parts of my grandfather's chronic fatigue diagnosis was heavy metal toxicity. And so he started exploring how minerals can offset heavy metals and developed this along with a couple other researchers and the people he was working with at the time, taste tests. Like your body literally knows what it needs. And it's such a fun thing to be able to do with kids. It's an easy thing to do. Just put some drops of the minerals and taste test it, see how it tastes to you. Sometimes I just even put it on my tongue. I've even experimented with doing it with my pets, see what bowls my dogs would go to. So that takes it to a little bit of an extreme. The amazing thing about liquid minerals is it's easy to take, easy to give your kids, easy to get added zinc, easy if you have thyroid condition to get some added selenium. It's very similar if you're sick of eating your Brazil nuts every day, you have selenium deficiency, easy to get a little bit in. You can put it in food, coffee, tea, water, anything you want. Juice, doesn't matter. So it's, I think smoothies, such a easy way to get those macronutrients in. And I think so often we miss them, and our food does not have as much of those minerals in it as it once did. And so we need those added.
We sure do. Yeah. And I really like what you said about that heavy metal toxicity piece, because we're experiencing so much more from the society, from our environment. And just in the past 10 years, it's probably increased a lot. And we need to have a way to have that daily support and daily detoxification to allow ourselves to be functioning at 100%, not at 25, not at 50, 75, 100%. And the only way we can do that is if they have that support from the mineral kingdom.
Yeah, definitely. From the mineral kingdom. And then comes in the whole other layer of detoxification support for your liver and how important that is. Another supplement that we've seen astronomically, even just this year, has been TUDCA, which is a bile salt. And it's so important for Bioflow, liver health, and as is PC. Those two are used together by a lot of physicians for liver conditions. If your liver can't detoxify things and you have all these toxins coming your way, you'll be in trouble.
That's right. Yeah. And our liver does so much. It makes cholesterol, it helps our hormones. It's like this whole downstream effect that people have no idea. They don't even think about. Yeah, I'm going to detoxify my liver. Why?
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. So I'm not surprised to see the growth of TUDCA at all, but that's a really interesting one. I think just in terms of the rise of gallbladder disorders as well. How many people have Bioflow issues
or have their gallbladders
removed?
Which is so common. I just had a friend who had a gallbladder removed, and I was just like surprised. I'm still, every time someone's gallbladder is removed, like I'm just so surprised. I'm like, it's an important organ. It's a huge important organ. It's not just like having your appendix out. It does have a role, but it's a very tiny role. But our gallbladder, its a role is massive, and to have it removed and then people don't do anything about it, it's just like, you have to make some changes in your life or just support the organ that's no longer there.
Yeah, definitely. We get that question a lot. I have no gallbladder. Can I take TUDCA? I'm like, you need to.
You should be taking a lot of it daily. You have to support the body when something is not working, and that whether that's being removed or it's just out of dysfunctioning. Yeah. You mentioned detoxification. Are there other specific supplements that you recommend with the BodyBio line that are geared towards detoxification besides the PC and the TUDCA? Is that the TUDCA?
Yeah, TUDCA is one. The use of PC and Butyrate together are great detoxification to really help break down some of those environmental toxins and just get them out of the body, and then continue to nourish the cells in the body with bioactive lipids and phospholipids. So that plays a big role in the type, when we say detox, what we mean. There are obviously many different detoxification methods, and working with a licensed healthcare practitioner to figure out what works best for you always makes sense, especially if you're dealing with a very specific illness.
Right, totally. And as we're moving into the new year of 2022, what would be your to help support the body's natural detoxification and just to have this superstar body sparkling for 2022?
PC all the way. It's hands down it's my lifeline. So many people ask me you look so great. Are you getting Botox? No, I literally take a ton of PC. I take a ton of PC. My babies, my healthy babies, I like to say, I'm their mom, so I'm going to brag. They're very smart little children. It's because of the PC that I take during pregnancy. But it's also, I just think it's an amazing, underrated, it's not this thing that everybody knows about yet to make that happen, but it's such an awesome thing for everybody. And it keeps your brain sharp. It keeps your recall, the brain fog down. It's just such an awesome supplement. And I think that's always my recommended supplement. We do a fun little promo the first week in January, getting this new year, new you stuff, and just getting into the new year, and how do you start the new year off really strong. We do a promo on PC, so definitely watch out for that. Sign up for our text messages and emails, and you'll get all the information about that promo.
Oh, nice. That's perfect. That's great. And so when someone is in the space of, like you said, wanting to recharge their brain, and I think you have three supplements that a package of 3. I'm trying to remember what it is. It's there's 3 different ones that support the brain. Oh, can you hear me?
You cut out.
Okay. Yes. Sorry. I think that you have 3 specific products that come together as a package to enable, to help with cellular regeneration, to help with memory and brain function. Can you talk a little bit about those? Because I think that we've touched base on those, but I think that those 3 things are so key for health, especially cellular regeneration is hands down number 1, but brain health and memory, like we talked about. So can you mention those 3 that you have together as a trio?
Yeah, it's a bundle. It's called the Foundational Bundle. It's a month's supply of PC, Butyrate, and Balance. And it's just such a great trio of products to take together to really work on your cell membrane fluidity, the health of your cells, the health of your mitochondria it addresses. So it looks at, if you look at the most kind of macro level, it's really taking care of your cells, which take care of your organs, which takes care of your whole body. And they really work tremendously together at that level, but also in the gut-brain axis level. So we call it the Foundational Bundle because it really is such a foundation for your body's health, and they work together so well. So it's on our website at bodybio.com, and it's an awesome trio. If you just want to start and you don't know where to start, that's where I always direct.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's really key, I think, for listeners, because it can be overwhelming when if you're not working with a practitioner, or you are, either one, trying to go through the sea, like you mentioned, of supplements. And one thing I do like about BodyBio's supplement line and the website, it's very easy to navigate, from that practitioner perspective and from the personal retail buyer. It's it's laid out very easily. So listeners, if you're looking for something specifically, it's laid out by system, so then you're like, okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for something for detoxification, or I'm looking for, and that is a great way, because then it's a guide. And I think that's really important as we're moving forward into helping people be empowered. Like we were talking about earlier, they're taking their own health into their own hands.
Yeah. And these are things people probably have never, I know I had never heard of.
Yeah. Like you said, it's your mission to make people learn and understand and know about them.
So we really want to encourage people to learn and to explore the brand with us. So we've done a lot of work. Our blog is an awesome source. We've got a quiz. When you go looking for supplements on the site, there's a quiz you can take. What are your main concerns? Is it gut? Is it brain? Is it longevity? What are your main concerns, and how can we help you? And then we'll make recommendations from.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's great. I saw that on your website. I love that, because then it's an interactive piece, but it helps people to be like, okay, this is what I'm really looking for. And I had no clue about how to surf through the website. And then it helps you guide you to the be recommended, some other recommendations to you, like, okay, I also saw that you're looking for longevity. This other supplement would be great for you too. So that's really helpful when you're in that space of supplemental confusion.
Most people go to a site looking for a multivitamin and you don't know the difference. And I think the type of people that ultimately find BodyBio are really looking for things that differentiate their health. And I think that sets it up.
Yeah. And not everybody needs a multivitamin. My patients always ask me like, oh yeah, I'm taking a multivitamin. Well, why are you taking it? You should be getting the great vitamins you need from your food. And I know you mentioned earlier that we're not getting everything from food, but we can still, there are a lot of things we can still get, and then take what you need. Do some testing, do some nutrient testing, some vitamin testing, see what your body needs before you start giving it just a multivitamin that most of the time, if it's a solid pill, you're not going to digest it anyway. It's going to go right out.
It really does. We just developed a vitamin C, a liposomal vitamin C, which is really exciting. But I think it's like the misconception about vitamin C. You get the camp of people who think I could just eat some oranges, drink some orange juice. Then you get people who just are happy to walk into a CVS or their supermarket and buy vitamin C. And then there's people who are like, wait a minute, what I'm putting in my body is really important. Let's make sure it's working. And we did some blood plasma levels studies and looking at the difference in concentration of our vitamin C versus traditional vitamin. A bunch of these packs of these fizzy vitamin C's with a bunch of sugar in it. It's not the same. Makes you realize what's in what you are looking for and what's important. So yes, of course, eat your vitamin C fruit and get those important fruits in. But during cold and flu season, or when you're exposed to every virus under the sun with your children in school, I think taking a vitamin C for the whole family is super important. And what type you take so that you don't just pee it out is even more important.
And like you said too, that liposomal aspect of a supplement, because we have that phospholipid bilayer on the outside of the cell, helps us to absorb it in a very different way. Different than taking something where if you're taking a fizzy water drink of vitamin C, like you said, that has all kinds of other stuff in it. Your body has to process that. If you're taking a liposomal form, it's going to go right into your system, through the buccal membrane, right through your body into the cell. And listeners out here, that's why that's important. We want to have that part of the stuff be used by the cell, not just, hey, sugar, what's up over there? That's not helping.
Yep, it's so true. I think vitamin C is one of those great examples. We did the same with glutathione. And because we know so much about the phospholipid world, we were able to figure out a way to encapsulate it. And we're super excited.
Do you have other antioxidant product supplements besides the vitamin C, or is that the only antioxidant one that you have on right now?
We actually don't. And we're definitely looking into it. We've got a lot of really exciting stuff happening with R&D. So definitely watch this space in 2020.
Woohoo. It sounds like it's going to be an awesome year for you guys, which is great. Okay. As we're wrapping up today, Jess, let's hit a few things about website, your social media, how people can find you. We talked about the PC fun that's going to be happening in January, and then we'll wrap up with one more question to end off the discussion.
Cool. So yeah, you can find all of everything for BodyBio related at bodybio.com. All of our handles are at BodyBio. Typically, if you DM us, I will answer you. If it's a quality control issue, they will answer you. We're all humans at our headquarters in New Jersey, and it's a family at BodyBio. So it really is the small family company, and we really want to help you and hold your hand through it. So I think that's really important to note about Bio.
That's great. Okay, super. And so one last fun question as we're wrapping up things today. If you had an unlimited budget right now, what would you do to make the biggest impact on the planet?
Oh, that would have to do with regenerative farming. I would definitely have to do with food and regenerative agriculture, and make changes within our agriculture system and make those changes in America, and really empower people to have these biodynamic farms and empower the farmers to do that, as opposed to go towards the huge conglomerate companies. I think that's where it's at, and that's where health is. So if we could bring that back, it would be such an awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I think we can totally do that. I love this question because so many people, it all comes back to food and eating and having this healthy food. We shouldn't have to be planning and working so hard to have healthy food. As a world planet, we should be able to have healthy food. And I think the more people are wanting this, of course, we're manifesting it. It's going to happen. And if you're listening out there and tuning in, how can you make a difference in your farming, in your community, and take a step forward to have that be your number one priority?
Yeah. Get away from processed and move towards whole foods. And if you can't figure out and you're in a city and you don't know how, find those places and the similar people who feel the same way and try and build it from the.
Great. Love it. Thank you, Jess, for joining us today. I loved our conversation and I can't wait to share it with the world.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.